So this is part 2 of a video that looks at introducing you to and helping you interpret the EES maps that have been produced from the course outlines. So this is an example of another program, and so some things to point out here is that you can see in this given semester there looks to be nothing indicated. So there's a couple reasons to be take concern here, in that it may suggest that there was an issue with approving the course documents through the banner system. So this program team might want to follow up and make sure that they are using and distributing the most current version, approved version of their course documents that are being delivered to the students. Secondly, it could just be that it hasn't been indicated that they are being taught, assessed in that program. So, and in this case here, keeping with the comment in the first video, is that there is an inherent tendency to over-assess and under-teach employability skills, and that so if we see that pattern, we should look to identify opportunities to introduce and reinforce the curriculum from a teaching perspective that supports the assessment of it. So that's just a couple examples from this particular one. If we just look at some other programs, this, for example, is an opportunity here where there's a lot of emphasis placed on teaching. So in this case, it may be more of the opposite extreme, so that if we follow this down again from as we go down the page through the student experience over 2 years, we'll see if we just choose, for example, 5, we'll see that it's taught, continue to be taught, and it's not assessed at all until the practicums in semester 4. So that might be an opportunity for a program team to look at that and say, should we be giving them some feedback in the form of assessment of these employability skills prior to their practicum experience in the 4th semester. Here's another example from a program that has a nice mix of teaching and assessing of these employability skills. So again, a program team might look across and look at the overall addressment of these outcomes and say, are they being taught in an order that we want them to be taught in? Are they being assessed adequately? Are we missing any outcomes? So the common ones, depending on the area, especially the social science area, number 3 deals with execute mathematical operations correctly. So many times program teams have to work to include curriculum and assessments that addresses math. So depending on the area, 3 is often an outcome that gets overlooked. 11 is also an outcome, but in this case it looks like that they are addressed numerous times. So that's, I guess, another thing to emphasize, is that these outcomes are meant to be reliably demonstrated. So the key reliably demonstrated suggests more than once. So another filter you should be looking at here is, are they taught, are they assessed? Is that happening more than once? Is it happening with the teaching happening at least at the same time, if not prior to the assessment? And are we satisfied with our overall approach to these? And one last thing I would suggest when you're interpreting these maps is that if you have essential employability skills outcomes that, as they are written, closely relate, or if not stand as, course level outcomes. For instance, if you have a program that has a math course, for instance, then now you have sort of competing outcomes, because you've identified course level outcomes related to the vocational program that are extremely similar, if not identical, to an employability skills outcome. So in that case, the suggestion would be is that the course outcome trumps the employability skills. Remember, as a program team, you need to satisfy yourself at the end of the day that you are addressing these EES outcomes appropriately. You've taught them and assessed them. So if vocational outcomes, program course level outcomes, deal with, in this case, math, then it is fine to satisfy yourself at the end of the day and say, well, if I'm not seeing number 3 represented in other courses in our program, and it's not represented in a math course, well, I'm satisfied that we are addressing it in that it shows up in that course level outcome, if you can understand that. So just to summarize that last point, when EES and course level outcomes are similar or the same, then you don't necessarily have to indicate that you're doing both and try to discern what marks are being associated with what. You just need to make note of it and to satisfy yourself that as a program team, that those course level outcomes are also contributing to the employability skills. Okay. Similar argument could be made in a group dynamics course that deals with, it also deals with an employability skill that talks about working in groups. A communications course that deals with, writing, presentations, etc., has course level outcomes that are quite similar to EES 1 and 2. So that's something to think about. It's when you're trying to interpret these employability skills maps.